What's good, team? Evan here for Gripst.com, continuing with my revelations from the Universal Championship of Online Poker series. Today, for revelation number 4, I have a very special one for you. It is the secret to success and the secret to maximizing productivity and output, and that is that scheduling equals execution, which equals results and happiness. So for the UCOP, I scheduled absolutely everything. I'm talking about I scheduled my play, I scheduled my study time, I scheduled my sleeping time, I scheduled my exercise, I scheduled my food. I even knew before the week started exactly what I was going to be eating every single meal of every single day throughout the series. And why did I do that? Because I knew that those activities were extremely important for me to do for my output and for my peak performance. And I also knew that if I didn't schedule in those activities, if I didn't put them on my list of things to do, that they probably wouldn't get done. You know when you get in a really good flow state and you're just playing really well or working really well on something and you forget to eat for the whole day? It's a matter of just not having it scheduled, because if you had a reminder that it's time to eat and I'm going to take this 30 minutes or 45-minute break to eat, you would probably go ahead and have that meal break and then come back to your work with more fuel in the tank ready to go. So because of my experience with researching the fields of peak performance and personal development, fortunately I know what the core habits I need and the keystone activities for me to put in my schedule to ensure that I have optimal output. If you don't have experience in this field or any research in this field, then the easiest thing to do to ensure that you have the right items on your schedule is to consult with someone who's a little bit older, a little bit wiser, someone who's been through it before, who can point you in the right direction of what things you may be neglecting or forgetting to include on your schedule. Because just about anyone who has experience with something is going to have an understanding of it and a much more real-world perspective of how the thing or the task or the challenge works, as opposed to how it looks on paper, a business plan or a hypothesis or whatever. Because of my schedule, I finished every day feeling very accomplished and very satisfied with myself. And the reason for that is simple. At the end of each day, I had set out, I had achieved what I set out to do because I knew exactly what it was that I wanted to do. And I'd planned out those things beforehand, knowing that those were the things that would make me happy. By following through on the contracts with myself and actually getting those results, those completions, I was building up my self-esteem. And if I forgot something, if throughout the challenge, throughout the scheduling, I realized, I haven't called my grandparents in a couple of weeks, then I would just add that to the schedule for the next day to ensure that that task got done. Like I said before, this ensured that all my keystone habits for both my performance and my happiness were in place, so that I was guaranteed to feel good and accomplished at the end of the challenge when it was all said and done. Now, a great example of this, where the power of scheduling came into play, was event number 9. So event number 9 was an event that started at 8 in the morning my time, and being a poker player, normally there's no way that I'm going to be waking up at 8 in the morning. But because I both had something to do, a reason to get up at 8 in the morning, and then more importantly, because I had people counting on me. And I had a personal contract with myself saying, this is something that I'm going to do, and playing the event at 8 in the morning is part of going for this, UCOP challenge, and I'm going to follow through on it. That made it very easy to follow through on, getting up at 7 in the morning, doing my exercise and hitting the tables, ready to go, well-fed, ready to perform. And it was nice because I actually got rewarded very handsomely for following through and doing the right thing. I managed to take second place in the UCOP Early Bird Special for about 2,000 euros. I also hit almost 1,000 viewers on Twitch, and I think it's because I probably put out one of my best streams of all time, if not the best. And you can watch that in the archives in the past broadcast if you want to see what that run was like and what went into it. The great thing about schedules is that they're not hard to create. All that's required is taking the time to actually make the schedule. And if you start working with the schedule, you are going to experience massive results as quickly as you start following the schedule, because you're doing all the things that you're needing to do and you're not forgetting, you're not leaving anything out that is essential to getting that success. And that's the reason that I introduced this concept at the start of this series, and I continue to revisit it and I continue to hammer it, because it is the secret to success. It is the key to happiness and productivity, and it doesn't need to be that complicated. You just have to realize that your schedule is basically your top priority. So with that in mind, your task for today is to go back to your comment from Revelation number 2 and take a look at your schedule and then revise your schedule to include all the key habits and key activities that will support you in playing, performing your best, and achieving your goals. So I'm talking about schedule in your meals, schedule in your exercise, schedule in your activities with your friends, schedule in other key social obligations, schedule in your rest, and schedule in your recovery activities. And if you do this, I promise it will be so much easier to follow through and stick with your schedule, because you're not just getting your egoic goals satisfied, but you're also taking care of your whole being. And so, your entire organism is going to be happy and satisfied and looking forward to supporting you fully in achieving your goal and taking care of that task. And for extra credits, take a look back for your comment from lesson 3 and see what the key habit that you wanted to drop was, that bad habit that you have, and look at your newly refined schedule and ensure that that bad habit is nowhere to be seen in that schedule. And that way, if you follow your schedule to the T, follow those activities, you will be doing all of the things that you want to do and none of the things that you don't want to be doing. And once you've got that schedule in place, you know what to do. Take what you learned, go out there and get stacking.